Hi guys, and welcome to a new devlog of my indie game Raidborn, which is a sandbox action RPG set in an adventurous fantasy world. Follow me along and enjoy interesting behind the scenes footage and actively participate in the development of the game. Now let's see what I have for you today. A beautiful generated exterior level with wonderful forest sceneries, interesting places, and more. As I've promised last time, this time we will take a look at a fully generated exterior level. The first thing I would like to tell you is that I really try to focus on environmental storytelling when building those levels, because I don't have real quests in the game, so I thought I can at least add some small details to the levels and tell some stories every now and then. And you just saw a small detail in this hunter camp we just took a look at, where a skeleton is lying dead on the ground and there is a shooting target and there's some arrows in there and somebody was training with the shooting target, stuff like that. Of course, it's important to note that this is in no means final. It really is just the first attempt with the details and the generation working. For example, the grass is missing. Of course, enemies are missing as well. We're just taking a look at the first generation result I have with everything set up. One thing I noticed when testing those exterior levels was that it seems that they are way too large, but you will see that in the end. I mean, if I walk through here straight to the end, doesn't take that long, around 10 minutes, but if there are enemies and you have to fight and you want to explore the levels and don't know them already, could take up to an hour, and I think that's a little bit too long. Keep in mind that that whole level here is randomly generated. For example, the cave you see here could not be there, could be something different, or it could look completely different. You also see some nice details I added here. For example, this food you can see here on the table, and it really was a joy to place all of those little details. By the way, this campfire you just saw is also an object collection, which can randomly spawn different kinds of objects, so it could have looked different. But I haven't yet filled up those object collections, so far sometimes there's just one object in the object collection, sometimes just a few objects, so there isn't that much variety here yet. Here you also see that will just appear every now and then, because as I said, it's really very raw and a very early version of an exterior level. Here you also see a sneak peek for the new grass system I implement to the game, because so far I just used it for this wheat field you see here, and later I will also use it to populate the whole world with grass patches. And here you see one of my favorite places in this exterior level, which is actually a sunken city. And I added quite some of those cool ideas to the levels, and I really wanted something epic, something which really looks super cool and is interesting to explore. Here you see an empty area. This is just a small bug. I will fix this soon. So far, just ignore it. As you can see here, also the road doesn't snap perfectly. Yeah, stuff like that needs to be fixed in the future. And now we finally arrived at the end tile, which is actually one of the largest, or is one of the larger tiles here. And here we have another point of interest, which is this cool bridge. And maybe I will also add some water to this canyon here below the bridge. And as you see, I really like those small caves, because here I again placed one of them. And again, I want to tell you that there could be something else, or this cave could look different. This is all randomly generated. And I built the levels in a way so that there are always secrets to find, like hidden treasures or small details like small battlefields or way shrines, and you will also find hidden loot, so a player who's exploring the levels will be rewarded most of the time. And I personally even like those small environmental storytelling things more than finding a loot. But you can tell me what you think about that. What's also pretty cool about the exterior levels is that I have some additional values I can play around with to make them diverse. The ones I can use for every kind of place type are mirroring different tiles, which will make them feel completely different if you just mirror them. Then I can of course change the colors of the models. I can, for example, in that exterior level, I can make it winter, I can make it autumn, and here when I change the colors, the change is much more dramatic than if I do that, for example, in the castle ruin, where I can, for example, make sandstone and stuff like that. It's also dramatic, but I think it's much more dramatic in exterior levels. And especially in exterior levels, I can do stuff like weather, different weather and different time of day, which is static. Of course, it's not dynamic because you just visit the dungeon, then there is a static set weather and time of day, and it will not change during you're there, but it can change from exterior level to exterior level. Last time I mentioned that different height levels are not so easy to do, but here you can see that it is actually possible, at least a bit, but actually I have to say, for what I want to do, it is enough anyways and looks pretty cool. And later we will take a look at that city down here, and as you can see, there's also a house placed on top of a hill, which looks pretty cool. So yes, I can add some height differences, just have to be careful that the start and the end of each tile is at the same height level. And here we have another very great place with a boat and a landing stage, and I have to say I really like this place here, where the bandits can do some fishing and can cook here at this campfire, and I really like it. It has a very nice atmosphere. Really, I have to say I was stunned from the results, and I initially didn't even plan to. I mean, I wanted to create cool levels, I wanted to create atmospheric levels, but I never would have imagined that it would turn out to look so nice, really. I'm really amazed about it, and I can't wait to finish it up, to add the missing pieces, and also to tweak the effects a little bit more. For example, I could add dust particles, or I can play around with the lighting and especially with the colors. This is not yet ready, and I think I can add a lot of depth and just atmosphere to the scene by adding effects like that. And here you see the small little bandit town, which is also great fun to build. And again, a lot of little details and stories are hidden in the level design. And by the way, this whole scene here will overall feel much more lively if I add NPCs there who do something, who talk to each other, who work on that working table here, who are trying to build something and eat something and stuff like that. You know, this will overall add more atmosphere to the scene. And I think especially this place here is a good example for having a completely different atmosphere and appearance if you visit it at night. Now it is your turn, and I'm really curious to hear what you think about the shown footage and what I said about the levels being too large, the details, the environmental storytelling, the object collections, and so on and so forth. As you know, I will read every single comment. I really take your feedback serious and will try to implement as much as I can. And last but not least, I wish you a wonderful day. Stay cool and see you next week.